Hi, and congratulations on your 2019 SL Rogue. This is a truly magnificent vehicle. It's got a ton of features, super comfortable, great on fuel, and just a joy to drive. We're going to go back over the features of the vehicle that you've just bought, just to remind you of everything that you've got in it. Make sure that you're familiar with that all. And at the end, if you're still have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. You can call, text, email, or stop in. My business card will follow, and we'll make sure that you're well looked after. Let's look at your new vehicle and see what you've got. We're going to start with the infotainment system over here. So right away I see I've got a navigation system. Now with your navigation system, we are not driven by an SD card. You are driven by an internal memory. Therefore, you can go out, and we'll show you in a minute how to do it, but you can go out through Wi-Fi and update your navigation system anytime that there's an update available for free. So to use our navigation, we're going to hit destination. If you know exactly where you're going, you can go to street address, and then from there just punch in exactly where you're looking for. If it's locally, start with the house number. If it's in a different part of the province or state that you're in, just start with the city name, and then it's going to take you up to the house and street number after that. If you're just looking for locations that are nearby, depending on what you're looking for, we've got our points of interest. So if I want a gas station, I can go in and see gas stations, and it's going to show me starting with what's closest and then work its way out, so I can pick what I want from there. Now, one of the things to keep in mind, when I'm driving, all of these buttons are going to gray out. However, using the voice recognition button on the steering wheel, right here, I can set my navigation by voice even though I'm driving. So my options are set it while I'm parked, or use the voice recognition to set it while I'm driving. Everything's easy to use. It's full touchscreen. I've got my zoom in, zoom out. In my settings, I can come in here. This is where I'm going to come to set a phone connection. So I want to go into connections, and then I'm simply going to add new. From there, I'm going to go into the settings on my phone and then into Bluetooth, and I'm going to look for My Rogue as a new connection. Now, if you're using an Android phone, you have one additional step. If you have a lock on your screen, you need to go into the settings and then into the privacy and then the lock screen settings. You want to look for smart lock, and then you're going to add a trusted device, and you're going to add My Rogue as a trusted device. If you do not do this, shortly after you connect to your vehicle, it's going to fully disconnect you again because your screen's going to lock up. Once you get home, under this same connection settings, we're going to go in and you're going to connect to your Wi-Fi. Once you connect to your Wi-Fi, this is going to give you the option when you hit settings to go to info, go over one screen, and go into system information. From there, your software updates will happen automatically. That's your internal system software. But you're going to be able to go out, and then by smartphone or Wi-Fi hotspot, which is your Wi-Fi connection, you're going to be able to update your map anytime that there's an update for it. That way you always have up-to-date maps, and it will update for anywhere in North America. So we're going to back out of here. We're going to have a look at our audio. Right now I'm in our service tunnel, so I have no signal for my satellite radio. However, I get 18 presets for satellite radio. And satellite radio comes free for the first 3 months. On FM, I've got 12 presets. So I can set whatever I want in there. Now if I hit the source button up top here, I see I've got AM, FM, satellite, CD, USB, Bluetooth, auxiliary. This vehicle is also equipped with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and some of my earlier videos will actually show exactly how they work. When you connect through the USB port down below here, if it's an Apple phone, it's automatically going to launch Apple CarPlay. If it's an Android phone, you do need to first download the Android Auto app. Once you have it on your phone, anytime that you connect through the USB port down below with your phone, it's automatically going to launch Android Auto. There's some great functionality available through either one. So we're going to go back to our audio screen. Down below here we have dual climate control. So if me and my passenger want different temperatures, all they got to do is press dual, and then they can set their own temperature. As soon as my passenger hops out, I can turn the dual off, and everything goes back to my setting as the driver. Now right now I've got this set for auto, and what I recommend for most customers is find a temperature that you like, set it for auto, and never worry about it. It will automatically determine where your airflow is going to go and how high the fan speed needs to be based on that. What it's trying to do is get you to your temperature that you've got set as fast as possible. So if that fan dials up all the way to pump out warm air or cold air, depending on the internal temperature of the vehicle, as you get closer to that temperature, the fan will start to dial back all on its own. If you want to manually set anything, I have my fan speeds here, and my mode will change where my airflow is going to go. Now, the moment I hit either one of these, auto is going to turn off. In order to get it back to auto, I need to push the auto button. Now, on the mode, I've got the vents in the front and down the floor, just down the floor in the windshield, or back in front. If I want just the windshield, it's got its own separate button over here. So I'm going to set this back to auto. My rear defrost is over here, and when I turn that on, that's also going to activate my heated side mirrors. Down below, I've got my USB port. This USB port interacts with the vehicle, so I can either plug my phone in here, and it will charge my phone while Apple CarPlay or Android Auto are connected, or I can plug a thumb drive full of music or any other device in there that has music on it and stream music from there. My electronic parking brake is here. To engage this, I'm just going to pull up on it and it turns red. You can hear it kick in. To disengage it, I need my foot on the brake and then I push down on it. That will disengage it. Right below that, I have auto hold. Auto hold is a great feature. When you turn this on, and you do need to turn it on every time that you get in the vehicle, as soon as you put it into gear, up here on the display, you are going to get an indicator that'll show up down here. It's going to be a white A, and what's going to happen in that case is, as soon as I start driving, when I come to a full, complete stop, and I hold it for more than 2 seconds on the brake, that A is going to turn green. From there, I can take my foot off the brake. The vehicle has the brake held on. The moment that I go to move again, all I got to do is touch the gas and the auto hold comes off, even though the light is still on here. It releases the brakes. Heated seats are right down here. I've got high, low, and off. And then in my center console, a little hard to see at the moment, I do have an additional USB port. This one is strictly for charging. As well, I have another power port outlet here. Now, if I'm going to plug anything into either of those, and I have a cord I want to feed out, if it's somebody in the front, I'm just going to feed it through here. If it's somebody in the back, I'm going to feed through one of these two spots so it doesn't pinch my cord. Here on the steering wheel, we've got our controls for our Bluetooth hands-free. So this button is going to answer a call or hang up. Well, this button is going to allow me to make an outbound call. It's also going to allow me to set my navigation through my voice, change my audio through voice, or depending on the type of phone that I have, I can access my phone. So for example, if you have an iPhone, pressing and holding this button will access Siri. From there, you can go through and use all of the Siri functionality on your iPhone. Our blue button here is going to turn on my cruise control. So if I do that, I watch and I see a variety of things show up on the screen, and we'll go over all of those in just a moment. In the meantime, what we're going to have a look at here is just your normal buttons. So I can set my speed once I get up to speed. If I have to tap the brake or hit cancel to turn off the cruise, I can then resume. Or if my speed is set and I want to reduce it, I can tap a couple times here or increase it by here. Now, this button here is for my adaptive cruise control. By default, we are set for 3 car lengths plus safe distance, which is the equivalent of about 3.5 to 4 car lengths. When you're driving along, and just to give you an example, 80 kilometers an hour with 1 car length plus safe distance set is approximately 2.5 car lengths. It will vary a little bit depending on your speed, but you can set that right here. So if I press the button, I can see down to 2, down to 1, and back up to 3. Now, if I don't want adaptive cruise control, I'm going to turn off my cruise. Instead of just pressing this, I'm going to press and hold. And we see right up the top here, everything changes. I'm now back to just a normal cruise control with no adaptive cruise. On the right side of my steering wheel, I've got my volume for my radio. These two buttons here, if I'm on radio or satellite radio, these are going to go through my presets for me. If I'm streaming through USB, Bluetooth, or CD, these are going to skip tracks. Now this is a back button that we'll make use of depending on what screen we're on the driver assist display. But this right here with the OK button is going to control our driver assist display. So right now I'm on a trip odometer and I'm on trip 1. So I'm going to go over to average fuel economy, and it's probably going to be running pretty high because in 6 hours and 38 minutes, this vehicle has only traveled 89 kilometers. So we see it is running quite high. So what we're going to do is press the OK button. We're going to reset all, which is our trip and our fuel economy, and a screen that's currently not turned on called average speed. Now if I press up or down, I get to fuel economy 2, and if I go back, I'm now on trip 2. So I can do the same thing on this one and just reset all, and everything's been reset. Now if I go to the right, I see a compass. This is pertaining to my navigation. If I don't have a destination set, I'm always going to have a compass. It will show the direction that I'm traveling. If I do have a destination set on my navigation, this is going to go away. I'm going to get a picture of an arrow going up to the right or up to the left, depending on the direction of my next turn. It's also going to count down the distance on this screen to show me how far until that turn. All the while, it's going to talk to me through my Bose premium sound system to tell me the direction of my next turn and how far away it is. Our next screen here shows me what's going on with my audio, and from this screen, the OK button on my steering wheel, while I'm on this screen here, will change the source of my audio. So if I press OK, I move over to satellite, then Bluetooth, auxiliary, AM, and then back to FM. Now if I have a USB device connected, or if I have a CD in, those become options as well. Our next screen here is for the adaptive cruise control. Now I'm going to turn this all back on, and we see this pop up again. Give it a moment. The adaptive cruise on this screen, I can see my distance. It's set for 3 car lengths plus safe distance. So again, if I just tap that button that shows the distance marker, I can see 2 and then 1 and then back up. Our next screen over. This screen has a lot to do with a lot of your safety features. Your vehicle is equipped with automatic emergency braking and forward collision warning. That will give you a visual cue if triggered right on this section up top here. The way your automatic emergency braking is going to work is if the vehicle up ahead of you suddenly piles on the brakes and you're closing that gap really fast, inside the Rogue, it's going to beep at you and the gas pedal is going to push back against your foot a little bit. If you do not react fast enough at that point, the beeping will get louder and faster, and if necessary, it will start to apply the brake to help avoid or minimize an oncoming collision. This vehicle is also equipped with pedestrian detection, and that's going to work the exact same way and indicate in the same spot up top here, except it's going to happen much, much faster, and instead of starting to apply the brake, it's going to fully apply the brake. Now on the bottom on these side pieces is for our blind spot indicators. Now we do have blind spot indicators on the inside of the vehicle here. It's a little hard to see, but we've got an LED indicator on each side here. Same thing over on that side there. When there is a vehicle in your blind spot, those are going to light up and stay lit up a dull orange as long as part of that vehicle is in your blind spot. Now, if for example my driver's side indicator is lit up orange and I signal to go left, it is going to beep at me inside the Rogue. This indicator is going to start flashing, and it is going to flash down here on this one as well. Now what I do tend to find is you're going to be more focused on what's going on around you than you are on the flashing screen down below. You're also equipped with lane departure warning and lane departure intervention. When everything is lit up, if you start to drift out of your lane, whichever side you're drifting on, it is going to beep, and it's going to flash on that side of the vehicle to show that you're drifting out of your lane on that side. That's intended so that you can correct it. Now, when Pro Pilot Assist is engaged, and there will be another video to follow, Pro Pilot is semi-autonomous driving. It's going to help steer the vehicle for you when you have your cruise control set. When that's engaged, those two lines are going to light up green. It's going to beep. Your steering wheel will light up green. It's letting you know that everything is engaged. If you start to move at that point and there's a bend in the road, instead of it beeping at you, it's actually going to help turn your wheel to get around the bend, providing the bend is not too big. Our next screen to the right is going to show us our tire pressure. Now, I haven't driven far enough to show all the tire pressure, but one of them has already populated. Once you drive a little bit, each wheel will populate with a pressure. It'll show you exactly what the pressure is in each wheel. From there, if you get a low tire, it is going to pop up, tell you low tire pressure, but it's going to tell you exactly which tire is low and what the exact pressure is. Once you go to put some air in the tire, whether it's a garage or somewhere else, go to the tire that it's telling you needs air and simply start putting air in. When it gets to the right pressure, the horn's going to beep to tell you to stop. If for some reason you go to the wrong tire or you continue to put air in, you will hit a high limit. Once you do that, the horn's going to beep 3 times in a row. Please stop putting air in your tire at that point. However, please do the same thing to the other 3 tires. That way you get even tread wear across all 4 tires. We can review any warnings on this screen here, so I'm going to go back one to the left and generate a warning. So right away I see I've got a warning, tells me my door is open. If I press my OK button, it makes the warning go away. However, I have a triangle with an exclamation mark that stays here. So now, if I go back to the screen, it'll let me review my warnings. And if I have multiple warnings, for example, if I also had low wiper fluid, it would say warning 1 of 2. And I could tap up or down to get to the other warning. To clear your warning off, simply correct the issue. The warning will go away on its own. Our last screen over is for our settings. I do encourage you to play with these. There are 3 settings I have altered and I do want to show you. By default, Nissan vehicles will automatically unlock the doors when you turn the vehicle off. Most people prefer that they unlock the moment that you shift into park. So what I've done is I've gone down to vehicle settings, into locking, and into auto door unlock, and I've set it for shift to park. And as soon as I got on that, I pressed OK. Then I hit the back button, which is down below here, and I went down to wipers. And I turned on the first 2. The third one is already turned on. Speed dependent is for your intermittent wipers. It just means that if you're driving locally and you've got your intermittent wipers on, the moment that you shift out to the highway and speed up, your wipers will move a little bit faster even though you haven't adjusted them. Reverse link is for your rear wiper. It will make your rear wiper come on if the front wipers are on the moment that you put it in reverse, and it's intended to clear your back window off. The final one is drip wipe. It's meant for when you clean your wipers or your windshield with the wiper fluid. It'll wait a few seconds after everything is done and then make one more pass to catch any running drips. Those are the settings I typically change. Don't worry about messing anything up. The very bottom of your screen, when you go back one, is factory reset. So it makes it really easy. Down below here, we've got a bunch of buttons. So right here, we've got the brightness for our dash. This says trip reset. So down below, if I look here, I've got my odometer. It says 134 kilometers. If I hit the trip reset button, I have 123.9. If I press and hold, it will reset. If I press it again, I get to trip B, and I can reset it the same way. Once more will take me back to my odometer. So you do have 4 trip odometers that are separate. Also down here, this button will turn off my traction control. You're driving an all-wheel drive vehicle. I highly recommend just leaving this alone unless you're very familiar with it. If I turn this off, it does show me up here, but it's also telling me I've got features that are now unavailable. Over here, I've got 2 cars crashing. My automatic emergency braking and forward collision warning, as well as my pedestrian detection, are all turned off. And my rear emergency braking, which this vehicle is equipped with, is also turned off. So I'm going to turn this back on and get rid of all those lights. This button here will turn off ProPilot Assist. It will not come back on when you turn the vehicle on until you push it again and it comes back on. We have our hatch release here. If I press and hold for 2 seconds, it will open the rear hatch. Same thing to close it. I have my fuel tank release, which is on the passenger side of the vehicle as indicated by the little gas tank with the arrow down here. My heated steering wheel is right here. If I turn that on, it's going to stay on for 30 minutes, the same as your rear defrost. I have an all-wheel drive lock. Now, if I press that up here, it says all-wheel drive lock right up here. Your vehicle is an intuitive all-wheel drive. You're going to drive in front-wheel drive about 90 to 95% of the time, and it does that for fuel efficiency. When you're pulling away from a dead stop, you're in all-wheel drive. Any large hills that you need extra power on, or any traction conditions, all-wheel drive will automatically kick in. The all-wheel drive lock keeps you in all-wheel drive up to 40 kilometers an hour. Once you hit 40 kilometers an hour or higher, the all-wheel drive lock turns off and you drop back down to front wheel. However, it will engage all-wheel drive as necessary up to 145 kilometers per hour. We also have Sport and Eco mode. If I press Sport, I see it down below my park indicator down here. Sport mode is going to have my RPMs revving a little higher, but it's also going to give me more torque on my motor. So with that, if I need to get out and around somebody in a hurry, I'm going to be able to do so. Eco mode also shows up in the same spot in green. I'm going to get better gas mileage with Eco mode, but I do recommend for customers to be aware, trying to pull away quickly from a dead stop or trying to get out and around somebody in a hurry is going to feel a little sluggish compared to normal mode, which looks like this. Now over here in the side door, and I'm going to open my door so we can see better, I've got memory seats. So to set my seat, I want to get my side mirrors where I want them, and I want to get my driver's seat in the position that I want it, and then I'm going to hit set, and then 1. It beeps at me and it tells me that it's set. Now, once you do that, you're going to spend about a week adjusting your settings. Every time that you adjust it, just do the same thing. Once you find that perfect spot, anytime that you're getting in, if somebody else has been driving, all you got to do is hit settings 1, and everything will go back to where you had it. Up top here, we've got an auto-dimming rear view mirror, and we do have Homelink on it, so you can set up to 3 garage door openers. The easiest way to do this is hold your garage door opener button and hold one of these buttons at the same time until it flashes, and that should sync it up. If for some reason it doesn't, check your owner's manual. There are 2 other ways to do this. There are multiple ways to do it. That is the most common one. Now up above here, we've got our button for our roof. If I press it straight up, it will vent. And I can press it straight up again to close it. Now if I pull back on it, it is going to open my roof, and I can stop it anywhere along the way. Now there are 2 clicks to this button. I've got my roof closed right now, so I'm going to open it a little bit, and I'll stop it there. If I push forward enough to feel 2 clicks, it closes that, and then it's going to close my screen over. And again, I can stop that anywhere along the way. 1 push back on that button will open up the screen, but if I had double clicked it, as soon as the screen finishes opening, the roof starts opening again. Your new Rogue is equipped with remote start. So on our key fob here, we have a panic button. I can press and hold this button for the power lift gate. I can lock or unlock my vehicle here, but to work my remote start, I'm going to hit lock, and then I'm going to hold the top button for 5 seconds. That's going to remote start my Rogue from up to 200 feet away. From there, it's going to run for up to 10 minutes. When you get in, you still need to engage the vehicle, and it will tell you how. Right up on the screen here, it'll tell you put your foot on the brake and push the start button. Once you do so, everything will light up and you're ready to go. If you're running behind and you need to extend it, if it's been running for, let's say, 8 minutes, do the exact same thing. That will add 10 minutes to the count from wherever you're at. So in this case, if you've been running for 8, it will now run to 18. Should you change your mind at any point, simply press and hold the top button for 2 seconds. That will turn it back off. Your new Rogue is equipped with an intelligent key system. So this button is on the front door on each side, and there is one on the hatch. As long as I have the key fob on me, it needs to be within 3 feet of the door that I'm at. I can push once and I hear a beep. Now, only the driver's side door is open at the moment. If I push again, there's another single beep. This now means that the entire vehicle is open. Once everybody's out and all the doors are shut, there's 2 beeps. That means the whole vehicle is locked. Now around the back here, you do have a similar button. There is a little round button up in here that you can push to do the exact same thing. But I do want to show you the kick motion activation. Again, you need the key on you, has to be within 3 feet. So anywhere below this license plate, if I give a fluid, in and out kick, it beeps 3 times to tell me to step back, and the hatch opens up. From there, I can either push this button to close it, or I can give a kick, or I can press the button on my key fob. Now, if the hatch needs to be adjusted for height, I can just pull it down wherever I want it, press and hold. I hear 2 loud tones, and then from there, I can just close this. From then on out, that is as high as my hatch is going to open. So I'm going to open us back up again just by pressing the button here. And we're going to see we stop there. Now I'm going to put this all the way back up by pushing it up manually. And I'm going to press and hold again. So we're once again set on the height. And when I give a kick, I get 3 beeps. I step back and everything closes. From there, I'm going to reach under and push my round button. I hear 2 beeps and I'm fully locked. In the winter time in Canada here, we're going to want to make sure that our Nissan emblem here is kept well clean when you're cleaning off your vehicle, as well as the camera up in the window. Otherwise, if we don't do that and there's any obstruction, it is going to prevent some of your safety features from working. Congratulations again on your 2019 Nissan Rogue SL. I absolutely love this vehicle. This is our signature vehicle. It's our #1 selling vehicle. You've got a great choice here. I know that you're going to love it and you're going to enjoy driving it. Take it anywhere that you want to go. It is built to go. If you still have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. You can call, text, email, or stop in O'Regan's Nissan on Baker Drive. If I'm not around, any of my colleagues is more than happy to help you. I look forward to dealing with you when it's time to get another new vehicle. And if you're ever in service for your regular maintenance, please pop by and say hello. And if I see you, I'll do the same.